Hi, it's Chris from Living the Inner Life. Mark Twain once said, "Work fascinates me. I could watch it for hours." So today, on this episode of Now What, I'm going to talk about work. All right? I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not actually going to do any work, but, well, this kind of is work for me, although professionally I'm not getting paid, so let's just call it a labor of love. Anyway, back to work. We are all anticipating a return to work. Some of us, especially working in some medical fields and any kind of food industry jobs, never really left work, and in fact probably did a lot more work during this lockdown for the coronavirus. Some of us, a lot of us, millions of us are out of work and have filed unemployment. And some are finding that their unemployment benefits actually exceeded the amount they were making when they were working. So going back to work doesn't seem like a good idea, at least financially, for some of these people. And going back to work can be uncertain. We don't know how the workplace environment is going to be. Also, how our jobs are going to be transformed. How are we going to interface with the public with our jobs? I know some retail is coming back online, but it's going to be order online and pick up only. So that's definitely different. The workplace is also a place where we meet people. That's where we know people. We talk about TV shows around the water cooler on our lunch breaks. A lot of people meet romantically in the workplace because if you're spending 40 hours a week at your job, at the workplace, well, you're probably spending more time there than just about any other single place, and that's where the people are. But that might change as well. So there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknowns. Now, what I think I want to focus on today is the transformation of work. How, yes, we will be working again. Yes, many, perhaps most of these jobs will still be there because they are needed. But they will, I'm sure, transform sometimes dramatically into new ways. So we have to be flexible as to how this is going to unfold, and we really kind of don't know right now. So we have to be patient with ourselves and be a little forgiving with the process because it's a little mushy right now. There's not a lot of certainty with that. So one thing is education. Now, teaching as well as being a student, the classroom has already been transforming. A lot of classes, some universities have gone online, offering some classes. Some universities, the entire curriculum is taught online. And that works for certain things. If you're learning maybe programming, or where there's just really a lot of book learning and studying that way, well, you can kind of get that fairly well through an online environment if it's done properly. But other, say, vocational skills, welding or any kind of vocational labor type skills, really can't be taught online. You can learn some about it, but you can't really do the practical hands-on things without having some kind of instruction, some kind of brick and mortar being in the same place with your instructors. So the big question with a lot of people is public schools and how that's going to work out. I know one teacher who is actually going to do quite well this summer, even though the public school won't be in session most likely, but she's developed a tutoring. So she'll be doing it online, but one-on-one tutoring, and that's a way you can take the skills that were applied to the previous paradigm of a job or work and port it over into this new way, even if it's just temporarily. Because these skills that we have, even though they've been focused for one job, can actually work in other areas and in other ways. So be looking for new ways you can do the old thing, because especially if you can't do it in the old way, there might be ways in which these skills are very much needed and can be done in a new style. All right? So with that, There's also the possibility that some of us won't go back to our old jobs, and maybe shouldn't. Maybe some of these industries were teetering on the brink of collapse anyway, certain retail outlets, and maybe the way we've been shopping and doing some of these things maybe hasn't been the best way. It's been the best way we've known, but maybe there's a better way, and maybe this better way can be discovered during this pause phase, that as we go back online, we can't go back to the old way, but it can maybe transform into a new way or a new job entirely. So this is a great time to take online classes and perhaps learn a new skill, or if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, to finally get out and say, you know what, I'm really going to try this idea. I've been wanting to do this. Now's a good time. Give it a shot. Okay? So things are different. Work is going to be different. Some of us just won't be going back to our jobs, and we'll definitely have to retrain and find a new thing to do in a new way to do it. But the good news is there's so much innovation, there's so much creativity in the world with people, and necessity being the mother of invention. The need is there, and the need is now for a new way, for new ways of working, new ways of providing goods and services for people. And what I also see is a lot of peer-to-peer stuff. I know there's been craft things and people selling things online that they make. So maybe this kind of big retail paradigm where you have a lot of employees working in a store with a lot of products that are coming from big factories somewhere. Maybe there's going to be a return to some of the smaller, more boutique type of stores where you really get to meet the people that make this stuff, or it's not too far away. So maybe a return to some of the older ways, like older ways, but doing them in a new way might be a possibility. So be open to the possibilities, and never forget the real value behind work. Work is important. Work is certainly necessary if you want to make some money and pay the bills and live your life. That's a paradigm that a lot of us fall under. But there's kind of a hidden value with work. And that, I mentioned earlier, we know with the social aspect, but it's a very deeply personal aspect. So no matter what you find yourself doing, whether it's a completely new type of work, a completely new job, or you've transformed your skills into a new way of expressing them, or if you've just gone back to the old thing, there is a new way, okay? There is this opportunity for innovation and transformation, but what really needs to come back, and maybe that will have to come back in a new way, is the deeply personal aspect of work. Because work is not only satisfying to pay the bills, even a job you don't like, but it's a purpose. Not everyone works at a vocation that is where they're in their dream job. Okay, some jobs aren't that. But some labor, some work, and I think it would be nice if we all had some line of work that actually does fit our passions, our desires, that gives a sense of purpose, a sense of accomplishment. I know I sleep better at night when I've had a chance to get a lot of work done during the day. And if I don't, I'm like, restless, and I feel like I haven't accomplished what I needed to do in the day. So there is something deeply satisfying because the real danger is when, and we've seen this when people retire, maybe retire too early. They find that after a couple months of retirement, there's only so many times you can go golfing or mow the lawn or sleep in or watch Price is Right or things like that. And then, unfortunately, a lot of these people don't last long in retirement. So I'm not talking about retiring, but I'm talking about regaining that sense of purpose, that sense of value that you've helped another person, even if it's something simple like, you help somebody pick out the right size and color shirt to wear for their date that night when they come into your shop. that can be satisfying. Or a teacher. Sometimes teachers don't get the appreciation they deserve, but if one person in the class gets it, and the light bulb goes off and they leave the classroom a little bit better than when they came in, that's satisfaction. And some of that can really only be achieved through work. So as we return to work and get back to work, whether it's new or old or different, don't forget the personal satisfaction and maybe have that lead your decisions. If you have the option to make some choices on a new way of working, maybe not just finding another job like the old one, or, well, this one makes more money than that one. Also work into that factor a type of job that satisfies you, or at least somewhat satisfies you on a soul level, on a personal level, okay? That speaks to your spirit. All right? So this work that I'm doing, this labor of love, is very satisfying for me. Every time I get a comment or a view on one of these videos, I know I've at least, well, maybe I've just wasted a few minutes of somebody's time, but if it's helpful at all, it's helpful for me. So that is satisfaction, and this does work on me as a soul level. So thank you for letting me share my soul work with you. Hope it's touched your soul in some way. It's time to get back to work. It'll be new, it'll be different, it'll probably be weird for a while, but we've got this, all right? See you tomorrow.